Hello everyone, I'm Darren with VibeTheNook.com, and today I want to take a look at Tunic, which released for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Xbox Series consoles in March of 2022, and it's also set to release for the PS4 and PS5 later this year. The game was developed by a single person named Andrew Shouldice, and it draws a lot of inspiration from both the Legend of Zelda and Dark Souls franchises. The overall experience does a fantastic job of combining that old school inspiration with new school game design into a fresh and unique experience. In Tunic, you play as a cute fox on a quest to save your sexy fox girlfriend who has been captured by evil forces. To do this, you will have to ring 2 bells and find 3 keys. The story is interesting for the way that it's told entirely through visuals. There are no spoken words of dialogue in the game, and the in-game manual doesn't really offer much more information, but we'll come back to the manual later. The music is very atmospheric, and it's even pretty relaxing at times. It sort of sounds like one of those lo-fi beats to chill sleep study to playlists that you'll find around YouTube. And this goes really well with the cute and almost chibi style of the graphics. The whole thing is sort of presented like a diorama, and it has a very similar look to the Switch version of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Don't let the cute graphics and mellow music lure you into a false sense of security. This game can be very difficult at times. However, as you play through the game, the mechanics eventually just sort of click, and the difficulty becomes a lot less intimidating. The game has all of the typical Zelda things like dungeons, puzzles, and items that are used to access new areas. It also has all of the typical Dark Souls things, like save points that restore your health and respawn enemies, regular enemies that will kill you in just a few hits, and lots of dying. The core gameplay is very similar to the 2D top-down Zelda games. You can equip items to the X, Y, and B buttons, similar to how you equipped items to the C buttons in Ocarina of Time. The A button is a dodge roll, and until you find the shield, that will be your main way of avoiding enemy attacks. Once you do find the shield, you're able to block enemy attacks, and this makes survival a little more manageable. The chests that you find around the world usually contain money, but sometimes you'll find something a little bit more useful. These can be things like additional health potions or items that can be traded for stat upgrades. You'll also sometimes find badges that can be equipped for a wide variety of effects. When you die, you'll lose some of the money that you've collected so far and be taken back to the last save point that you used. When you use a save point, your health, magic, and potions are all replenished. If you're able to get back to where you died, you can recollect some of the money that you lost, and when you touch your ghost, nearby enemies will be blown back and take a little bit of damage. Before you can ring each bell or find each key, you will need to proceed through a dungeon and fight a boss at the end. As you progress through the dungeons, you'll occasionally come across save points that are inactive. To activate them, you'll need to pray next to a monolith that looks like something you'd see in 2001: A Space Odyssey. The boss fights are definitely a highlight of the overall experience here. Each one is a puzzle where you'll have to find an opening and carefully plan out all of your attacks. You'll occasionally unlock shortcuts around the world, and this can be really helpful if you're ever stuck in a dungeon or struggling with a boss fight. Getting back to the boss is always an easy affair, and you usually don't have to worry about fighting a bunch of random enemies on your way back to retry the boss. When you combine this with the fast load times of the Xbox Series systems, and death never really feels like it's too punishing. As you're exploring the world and the dungeons, you'll occasionally find pages to the in-game instruction manual. The manual is a very interesting and unique mechanic. It's basically the game's way of telling the player what to do without explicitly spelling it out. Most of the text is in a language that sort of looks like wingdings, with just a few words of English thrown in here and there. The manual will show you things like some squiggle text, and then words like invincibility and look for dust will be thrown in. This will be combined with pictures of your character performing a dodge roll. So this is basically the game's way of telling you that when you perform a dodge roll, you have a few frames of invulnerability that are indicated by the dust that's kicked up. The manual contains a lot of information about exploring the world, finding enemies, and it even has maps for all the dungeons. However, the game usually chooses to show you how to do things rather than tell you how to do them. Things like how to fast travel, how to upgrade your stats, and even hints for puzzles are never explicitly spelled out for the player. That information is given to you, but it's presented in a much more cryptic fashion than most other games. Our final rating for this game is going to be 9 out of 10. This is an incredible game, and it's amazing that it was made by just one single person. The gameplay is great, and the presentation is perfection. If Dark Souls feels too intimidating and like it's a bit too much for you, I would definitely recommend giving Tunic a try, especially if you are already familiar with The Legend of Zelda. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to let us know by giving it a thumbs up and tell us about it in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. That sort of thing really helps us out a lot. Make sure to check out vibethenook.com for more gaming related content, as well as all of our social media pages. I will be sure to leave links to all of that in the description down below. And thank you again for watching. I hope to see you next time.